Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Cow Daily. Every week, I just want to try a new voice and just try out like a new style before we do some big launch. Maybe this is the voice I'll choose in my world of disingenuousness. I'll just bring my wonderful friend Alice in. Alice, what do you think of my new style?
I think you sound like Darren Grimes.
How we in to Cow Daily? How we in? It certainly wasn't intentional, but he's definitely got insiders. How we in? No, oh wait. You all right, mates? Well, welcome to this week's show. How we doing?
Happy solstice.
Yeah, man, definitely. Aye. How's your solstice been so far?
It's been kind of hot, like here, but like not like proper sunny. That really, really kind of like mugginess that you get. It just kind of seems to have been like that on and off for the last couple of days. So I just want a big storm to clear the air.
Clear the air. Break the air.
Clear me head. But that's quite nice having a little bit of warmer weather compared to the winter we had. So I'm not complaining.
Well, I mean, you'd probably be the only person in England who isn't complaining. Well, saying that's a bit. Probably 95% of people are complaining because it's the English disease isn't football hooliganism. The English disease is complaining about the friggin' weather, be it hot or cold or anywhere in between.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree.
So anyway, on this week's show, we're going to talk about the RMT strike from the top, but also we're going to do an item that we want to do for quite a while there, which is like cringe meme culture. I was looking for a catch-all phrase. I don't think that fully encapsulates the sheer visceral hatred we've got for the whole genre, but
no, and it is something very particular as well that we're referring to, which
definitely
will become clear when we cross that bridge. Yeah,
definitely it will. And then there's just a few bits of miscellaneous shit thrown in for the crack. Should we get straight into the RMT? Carry on.
Yeah, let's.
Happy days. Well, what I'm going to do is, right, I'm going to let Mick Lynch from the RMT speak for himself. I've just really enjoyed today watching him body bag, like Talking Head on the news after Talking Head. It's been a wonderful thing, and I really just wanted to share it with everybody. So we'll just go through this whole thing. This first one is Mick Lynch with Kay Burley this morning.
That they are going to bring in agency workers. My question to you is, I'm guessing that some of your members will still stay on the picket lines. What will they do if agency workers try to cross those picket lines?
Well, we will picket them. What do you think we'll do? We run a picket line and we'll ask them not to go to work. Do you not know how a picket line works?
What do they do anyway? I very much know how a picket line works. I'm much older than I look, Mr. Lynch. What will picketing involve?
Well, you can see what picketing involves. I can't believe this line of questioning. Picketing is standing outside the workplace to try and encourage people who want to go to work not to go to work. What else do you think it involves?
And what if they want... Well, I just wondered what else it might involve, because I very well remember the picket lines of the 1980s,
where are you going with your...
Mr. Lynch. I'm asking you what your members would do, Mr. Lynch.
Which picket lines are you talking about?
The miners' strikes. Miners' strike.
Yeah. Well, does it look like the miners' strike? What are you talking about?
No, it doesn't, Mr. Lynch, and I'm just asking, just to clarify.
You've gone off into the world of the surreal.
No, Mr. Lynch, and I'm sorry if you feel the need to ridicule me, but I'm just asking you what you expect your members to do.
But your questions are verging into the nonsense.
I'm asking you
as effectively as we can.
And what does that involve?
Look, there it is. That's what it involves.
So you won't stop agency workers crossing the picket line?
We will try to stop agency workers crossing the picket line by asking them not to go to work. What is it you're suggesting we will do?
I'm just asking you. I'm trying to clarify for the benefit of the British public who are being stopped from travelling around the country, Mr. Lynch. I'm just trying to clarify exactly what your members will do. Ask politely. Thank you for...
I'm replying to you politely.
To answer the question. Okay, Mr. Lynch.
I've answered the question about 6 times. If there are people trying to cross the picket line, we ask them not to cross it.
Honestly, right, I see your thumbnail throughout this entire thing, and I've just been buckled laughing at you laughing, and I must have seen that clip like 5 times today when I was editing it down. Laughing me back off. Mick Lynch, what a god, isn't he? Well, what do you mean? Like, I mean, he knows what she's trying to get at, but it's just playing the game. Anyway, we'll carry on. I'll play another one. This is Mick Lynch, body bag, and Alan Partridge. See you in a bit.
Welcome back. Now, Mick Lynch, who's the man leading the strike today for the RMT, is waiting for us at Euston Station. Mr. Lynch, good morning to you. It's going to be a busy day for you today. Can we just get one thing nailed to the wall before we get going here? You've been accused severally in the last few weeks of being a Marxist. It happened again last night. A backbench Tory MP said you were a Marxist with no interest in anything other than trying to tear down the government. Now, are you or are you not a Marxist? Because if you are a Marxist, then you're into revolution and into bringing down capitalism. So are you or aren't you?
Richard, you do come up with the most remarkable twaddle sometimes.
I didn't say you were a Marxist. I'm saying that you're being accused of being a Marxist, and that's not twaddle. That's called reporting.
No, I'm not. I'm not a Marxist. I'm an elected official of the RMT. I'm a working class bloke leading a trade union dispute about jobs, pay and conditions of service. So it's got nothing to do with Marxism. It's all about this dispute. It's an industrial dispute, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I emphasise I am not talking twaddle and accusing you of being a Marxist. I'm merely quoting people who are, including many of the newspapers.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, I'm sorry if it did, but I don't think it was. But anyway, to be absolutely clear, you are not a Marxist. Fine.
Ha ha! Ha ha! Actual Partridge. Real life Partridge time, like the Joker. Back of the net.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Like,
Big Mick's a bit of the boy, like, isn't he?
Yeah, I have seen many things written about him, but being a Marxist wasn't one of them. Like, is it just something mainly like pulled off from some random commenter on Twitter or something? Because that's what it sounds like. But
well, what it is like, I mean, you'll not have seen this because you've been at work, but I've pulled a lot of this together, and the BBC article didn't make the cut, right? But it was crazy. It was like. Like, here's the people who've missed out because of the rail strike. And it was some dafty from the Toon, Newcastle, who was going on a stag do to Liverpool. And he's like, we haven't seen my father who's coming on the stag do. He lives in Cornwall. He obviously doesn't talk like that. He's from the Toon, but that's the kind of like energy I'm getting off it. There was just this like litany of people in this BBC article, like, oh, get the violins out, like, you know. Sorry about your stag do, mate, but like here's a wild and random thing. You're from Newcastle. It's known for a stag do. Change your plans, get yourself to the Toon and go to Liverpool next time. Just go again. Have to. How about that?
Stunning. It's stunning how they manage to find these people, like, whenever there's something like this. And it's always something ridiculous as well. And, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and like in some ways I do understand, you know, people being a bit frustrated and but not having any kind of, I don't understand and I don't forgive any kind of frustration at the people actually striking. Like, look what it's about. And I don't understand people who don't support this strike, who don't, unless you've got shares. Like, unless you are an actual shareholder, there is literally no reason you can give to me as to why you should not be supporting the strike.
And even if you are a shareholder, if you take a mid to long-term view, like some people who hold on to shares do, it's clearly not going to be a good idea to have like this constantly play out, because the RMT mean business. It's why a lot of the workers who are RMT workers are on like above average wages. Now, there's something I wanted to bring up as well. And this is no disrespect to the person who inboxed is like, it's a valid discussion that we had. But I had somebody inbox this today and says, no, normally I agree with the things that you say, but I just don't get it with this strike. I earn X, Y, and Z amount of money, which isn't the same amount as, like, I think it was a ticket collector or whatever it was. I think this person was in IT or something, and and was complaining that they'd paid all of this money for their university degree and they were on less money. So my response to that was, are you a member of a union? No, I'm not. Well, maybe you should be. Like, let's not hate on the RMT because they've got their act together and they're really, really good at this. They're good at this. And what this is getting good paying conditions for their members. And without disruption, like, there's always going to be disruption around a strike, but all boats rise with the tide. If the RMT win this, then get on to your union and get them to get their act together and get you a better deal. That's how this should work. The problem is we've got a lot of compromised unions. The RMT are good. Baker's Union, good. Unite under Sharon Graham, good. A lot of the other ones, utterly shit. Alice, what do you think?
I think in response to that, and there will be lots of people who are kind of saying the same things. Now, I have heard similar things. The train drivers, they get good money. It's not the train drivers striking for a start, and I think that kind of needs to be made clear. It's other staff, but this isn't just about pay. Yes, it is partly, but in the same sense of that, the cost of living crisis is. So if you are, angry and upset and concerned about the cost of living crisis, then you should support this, because this is about, kind of pay freezes, them taking a pay cut in terms of, what's been done to their pensions, kind of a tax on the pension scheme, which means that they're making more contributions, but they're still going to be retiring later and they're going to be poorer in retirement as well. It's about them cutting thousands of jobs across the network. If you're frustrated that you can't get to a ticket office, then you should be you should be supporting the strike. If you don't want to die in a horrible train crash, then you should be supporting the strike, because part of this is about them cutting safety inspections on the infrastructure by 50%. By 50%. I mean, I remember things like the Potter's Bar crash. They're like, literally, it's we don't want to. Yeah, it'll be, if there was an accident as a result of that, it would be put down in the papers as a tragedy. When what it would actually be is corporate manslaughter. So,
well, it would. Quite right.
Yeah. So it's about everything. It's about protecting the jobs and services. People being able to get tickets. It's not always easy for people to get tickets online and stuff like that. People, that's about accessibility. And in all of this as well, this hasn't been part of the strike as such, but the RMT, they have been fighting for nationalisation. They have been fighting for fares to be cut as well. What we pay for train fares in this country is absolutely ridiculous.
Vile.
And especially when, shareholders, they've been putting up prices, but they've been cutting jobs, but giving their shareholders £2 billion in dividends over the same period. So why on earth would you not be supporting the RMT, who are, trying to fight for better safety conditions, who are just trying to protect their members from having, kind of real time pay cuts, and, who want to cut how much you're paying on your train tickets? Or are you going to support, the bosses who are massive salaries and who are making the services, kind of weaker, just because you can't get to work? And if your boss is giving you a hard time and is trying to penalise you because you're late for work because of the train strikes, then you need to join a union.
Union. Join one.
Join a union. Be active in it. Yes.
Well, look at it as this, right? Like, invest in things with which you think will create a better world. So, like, I think personally right now, unions, in terms of the working class movement, are probably one of the only ways that working class people are going to be able to chip away at getting a better life. Absolutely. Party politics is gone. It's completely done. Forget it. At least in your lifetime, who's listening to this, I don't know. I can't see it changing. But unions, there's a lot of hope there, and there's a lot of brilliant people in the union movement as well. And I've said this many times before, unions for most of my adult life have been absolutely shite. However, now not so much, especially with Sharon Graham getting in as well. She's like much more on getting better paying conditions, and they're very focused and targeted on that basis. And that's one of the only things, honestly, that gives us hope anymore.
Mm-hmm. And there's unions as well. A lot of people are don't like unions because of them giving support to political parties, and you know, and I totally understand that as well. That was why years and years ago I wouldn't join one as a young person, because every union seemed to be actively giving money to the Labour Party when Tony Blair was in power, and I was like quite heavily involved in Stop the War. But there are unions which don't do that. The IWW being one of them, you know, do not support political parties. That's who I'm a member of now, and I love the Wobblies.
Big up the Wobblies.
You know, you can organise. You know, I mean, join a union, yes, do, but like, even if for some reason you really don't want to do that, you're really against that, doesn't stop you organising your workplace. You can do that without a union if you so wish. I'd just say join a union, because you can often get access to it, like workplace organising training to do that. But again, there's other organisations like Solfed that will do some workplace organizer training with you if you don't want to actively be part of a union for whatever reason you have. It doesn't stop you organizing, and I think we need to do that for a list of reasons, in terms of stuff like this, you know, in terms of fighting cost of living, in terms of you know, kind of protecting vulnerable people. We were talking about immigrants being dragged off to Rwanda. You know, we can't rely on politicians to stop that from happening. However, if it's, you know, working people who fly the planes, who drive the buses, who provide supplies to the companies that are complicit in this, we can shut them down. And that's been done before. That was done by a bunch of Scottish workers in Chile, you know, which is a fantastic story if you want to look at what happened there in, you know, resisting Pinochet's regime. That's what we need to do, because all we have is each other.
Well, quite. That is exactly what it is. And that's one of the other things that gives us hope. I think there's movements towards people coming out of this sort of post-election sort of COVID pandemic funk. And people are getting organized but positive again. I feel that, you know. And I'm feeling the inspiration from that. So hopefully that spreads. And I just love the fact that Mick Lynch is body bagging all of these fucking mugs on the telly.
I hadn't seen any of that. That was.
I purposely didn't send some of these things to you today, because, like, seriously, I just knew I'd laugh at you all after. So
that was,
you know
great.
What I mean?
Yeah,
because when you've been editing them, you've seen them so many times. You need fresh vibes, don't you?
I could watch that shit all day.
Fortunately, you can watch it straight after this on the playback. But right, anyway, there's another element I wanted to bring into this, which I was thinking about today, and I was thinking about like sort of working class people who were specifically in these two cases were in the world of football, but sport, and they would speak out on behalf of unions and the general working class movement. So what we've got here is, I think this is from the 80s. It says Clough fights the front, and it's the front page of the Daily Mirror. And Jackie Charlton puts the boot in too. Basically, Brian Clough spoke out against the National Front, as did Jackie Charlton, and tell them all about it like we're kidding that Dergs. Got to do an Ashton voice when it's that worst Ashton voice ever. Apologies to Ross and all of the Ashton crew. Also, as well, this actually popped up in my memories today. When Jack Charlton died, Boris Johnson had tweeted, Jack Charlton was a football great, blah, blah, blah. So I then quote tweeted that, and I've forgotten about this. When Jack Charlton was Newcastle manager in 1984-85, he lent his car to striking miners so they could maintain a flying picket. When later questioned about it, he said, "It was the least I could do for my people. Big Jack, working class hero, R.I.P." My point is here, as I've said, where on earth are the working class people made good speaking out and not pulling up the sort of drawbridge and leaving everybody else on the outs? Sam Fender, he's one. Can you think of any others? 'Cause I've been struggling.
Not off the top of my head, really. And I think is the first thing that popped into mind when you put that up as well is that, you know, I think we had and I'm not saying that people weren't called ridiculous names and that there wasn't any kind of polarization back there. Of course there was, but now it's, you know, that was working class people organizing and, you know, and picketing, and those people would have had various politics and ideologies at the time. But now it would just be straight, you know, well, we saw Richard Madeley, are you a Marxist? Are you a Marxist? And it's thrown in those words which are, you know, kind of there to trigger a very particular response. Lefty is another one that has been bandied around quite a lot recently in some of the most bizarre contexts. I think Jacob Rees-Mogg referred to the Freedom of Information Act requests as a lefty. It's a lefty protest. Like
he's a fucking idiot, that guy. Isn't he?
Yeah, like I can't cope with these people anymore. But that's the kind of thing that we're seeing all of the time. It's immediately, oh, that's lefties. That's lefties. No, it's not. It's ordinary working class people, you know, like yourself. Why do you keep sticking up for these people who fucking hate you and who time and time again show you nothing but contempt? I don't get it. Don't get it.
Do you think everybody in England has secretly got some kind of S&M like humiliation fetish?
Who fucking knows at this point? I don't know.
Close to home, that one. Yes, but for different reasons. It's got nothing to do with the Tories, right?
Well, you know what? If that's the case, we haven't picked out a fucking safe word yet, have we? Because
mine's always been blancmange. It's old school and it works.
It just like the entire country is careering out of control. It really is, and we need to, you know, if that is the case, we need to use our fucking safe word and remember.
We all collectively have to cry out blancmange.
Blancmange.
Blancmange. That's what we should do. We should arrange like a kind of mad as hell screaming out the window thing where it goes fucking blancmange.
Hey, not speaking any French. We've left the fucking EU.
That would be as well. Souffle off, you fucking cosmopolitan arsehole. In it though, that's the vibes I get off like other people, not just working class people, like other working class people. I get it, like, oh, you in your fucking cosmopolitan ways. But then when you run into certain like middle class sort of centrists, you get it the other way, like that in that other snobbery where it's just like, who do you think you are using our big words? Who are you? In it though, it's vibesy as hell, isn't it? It's horrible. But I've had many a problem there. So anyway, like you sent us through some like stuff to do with YouGov and that kind of, and yeah, it was very interesting. So I've sneaked it in at the last. So can you talk me through what this is? So
yeah, so this is like a, you know, they do YouGov, you know, they do a daily chat thing, which is like polls. You know, if you've ever answered questions for one, you'll tend to get emails every day of different questions about what you think about various topics. Now it is kind of, you know, as a sort of disclaimer. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Just went completely blank. As a disclaimer,
you're amongst friends. Don't worry about that. I'm hoping I'm going to get through this entire thing without doing it, but I won't.
Yeah, as a disclaimer, it does say that you know, this isn't necessarily representative of views. I can't tell you exactly kind of what the demographic of the people who have been voting on this today is, but I was a little bit surprised because what happens is when you answer one of the questions, it'll come up with the results of what other people have answered underneath it. So it's asking loads of different questions. Now, obviously, this one is, you know, the pay dispute is that.
Do you think a 3% pay rise is too much, about right, or not enough? The person's replied not enough, and the results are too much was 8%, About right, 33%. Not
And
enough, 57%, and not sure is
57.
2%.
Yeah, so 57%.
Are you there? Yeah, you seem to
people.
have frozen. Are you all right?
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yeah, I think you're coming back. I'll carry on. Yeah,
Okay.
you're back. You're back. It's all good.
Oh.
So that one is obviously like very favourable towards the strike.
Yes.
There's another one. Oh, actually, hold on. Go further along. This is from the daily chat from YouGov. Yeah. So, how much sympathy do you have for the strike staff going on strike? The person replied, a lot, and a lot, 44%. Some, 11%. Not much, 11%. None at all is 30. Was that 30%? Do you see there?
30%. Yeah. And not sure is 0%. So 48% said they had a lot of sympathy for the staff going on strike, again, which I found quite surprising. There, obviously 30% for none at all is still quite high. But when you combine the 48% and the 11% for a lot and for some sympathy, then that's kind of well over half. And maybe I've just been really cynical about the general public, but this was more than what I was expecting it to be.
Oh, yeah. Same. When he sent us this, I was like, what? So what else we got? Yeah. So the RMT union is asking for a 7% pay rise of at least 7% offset the rise in cost of living. But it says employers have been offered a maximum of 3% on the condition they accept job cuts and changes to working practices. Inflation is expected to exceed 11% in autumn. Who do you side with more? People are saying the railway companies is what, 26%?
26%, over a quarter. Like, get your shit together.
What is wrong with people? The RMT 52%. Come on.
Yeah.
And neither third is that 21%, and not sure 1%. So pretty good on the side of the RMT. Also, there was another one that I found, right, but we didn't have time to get it in because it was tweeted out about 10 to 7, something like that.
Right.
And it was the Editor Tribune, Ronan Burtonshaw, tweeted it out. Savannah Comres poll, bloody hell, my brain fog's getting hugely better. I'm surprised at this. Watch as I get past whatever the fuck long COVID shingle bullshit I had last year. See it in real time. But anyway, Savannah Comres, Ronan Burtonshaw, Tribune, and it was overwhelmingly in support of the RMT. Overwhelmingly. It was like 60-something%, if off the top of my head. It was like, I was like, whoa, the world has changed. So what I want to ask you is, what do you think? I mean, obviously, this is a couple of polls. It's not like, it's barely out of anecdotal at this point, if we were to take it from statistical analysis. Let's factor that in. But like based on this, do you think that this is like a sea change within the sort of populace where they're just so pissed off with the system, or the two main political parties that they're just getting more of a consciousness about, like, right, support this because these are going against them? Do you think it's a bit of that?
I don't know. Do you know what? I'm going to let myself be a bit hopeful for a change, because I think, you need to be. And I've been, so cynical about this stuff recently that actually it's maybe a bit too early to tell. But, there is reason to be hopeful there, that there is a bit of a sea change there. Two of the questions that were asked as well was, do you think the Conservative Party oppose or support the strikes, and do you think the Labour Party opposes support the strikes? And this is where I thought it probably is, sadly, quite reflective, because obviously most people said that they thought the Tories would oppose the strikes, but most people said that they thought Labour supported the strikes on this. And I can kind of see why.
Nonsense.
It's been a bit of a mixed bag in terms of which MP you've been listening to speak, because obviously there are Labour MPs.
Do you know what happened? Because you might have missed this. What happened was, there was a diktat from Starmer's office that nobody on the shadow front bench could go to a picket line. This then prompted like backbenchers and whatnot to tweet out and say, for the avoidance of any doubt, I will be joining a picket line tomorrow or today, depending on whether they tweeted it out.
Yeah, but what is clear is that the leader of the Labour Party has said that he doesn't support that he doesn't support.
Man's a wank. He, like during his leadership campaign, the lecturers were striking, and he tweeted out like and went to a picket line in support of them because he was trying to make himself out to be some kind of left-wing kitten for everybody, like continuity Corbyn or some bullshit. And I remember we were saying at the time, "Don't believe him."
No, and it's just it's shocking that we've got the leader of the Labour Party currently saying that they do not support strikes, especially when you really look at the reasons why, as to why they're doing that. How can this be a party that supports workers? It doesn't at all when you're dealing with that. And it's going to come and bite them in the arse. It really is.
I hope so. Alongside a big dog. A big fuck off dog from Biker.
I think I just want to see Starmer and Biker and see how he gets on, really.
Oh, God. You said he's been the Biker, but it was before he was the leader. And I know this because, I can't say this. Right, ask us about it. Sometimes I forget that because we talk on FaceTime all the time. And I've just had one of them moments. I can't actually say what went on, but like, I'm really sorry to people who are watching this as well. I know what these are like. They're just a nightmare, aren't they? But trust us, like for the struggle, I can't do it. Anyway, carrying on. For the revolution, yeah. You'll bring down Bardermeinhof 2.0 that way. Oh no, God, I didn't say that out loud as well, did I?
Moving swiftly on. Do you think that it's the RMT are going to win?
Yes. But I think there's what I also think is there's going to be this horrific smear campaign that's going to kick in, and it's going to be bloody and horrible. But here's the thing, and this is Sharon Graham's thing that she stood for election on with Unite. It's called like the leverage. So they are doing this thing where like what's our leverage and how can we leverage better deals for our members in terms of pay and conditions. So their leverage is clearly this. I mean, I recall, hey, my brain, it's firing again, loving this. There's a quote from Bob Crow from years ago when he was still alive, right? And what he said was a version of this. And if I don't butcher the paraphrase, he said that actually that did too much preamble. Remind us what I was about to say about Bob. What was it? What was the context there? My brain's not as good as I thought.
I don't know. We're talking about Sharon What's-Her-Face from United.
Yeah. So basically, Sharon, it was the whole sort of leverage thing. So what Bob Crow said was that if them striking for a day costs the economy millions upon millions of pounds, then it's clear that their pay and conditions are far too low because their value is millions of pounds. So what we need to do is get it to a point where people understand that, and you understand these astronomical sums of money. I mean, I'll pull something up from one of these earlier slides here, right? And what it was talking about was the reduction of pay and the increase of hours. They want to reduce pay and increase hours, but the companies will still make 500 million a year in profit, and bosses are getting a 1 million a year pay packet. So this seems to be perfectly bloody fine to people who are naysaying unions. But when somebody who's on 25 grand a year might want 28 because the cost of living through no fault of their own far exceeds their ability to pay for their rent and bills, then I don't understand what the attack is. No. Other than all this Pavlov's dog ringing a bell bullshit that Madeley and Burley are trying to do. Marxist, referencing the miners' strike. Are you going to kick off? I remember the 1980s. Richard Madeley even said yesterday that the unions ruined the mining industry. He said that unchecked on live TV in the United Kingdom. An absolute fucking lie.
Yeah, and no, obviously there's criticisms that can be made of trade union leaders at the time, but Jesus Christ, that is a fucking hot take.
Crazy. That's a Satan's arsehole hot take.
Absolutely.
Crazy. Anyway, I think we should wrap this section up, right? But I've got one last video I want to play, right? And it's in the theme of hope that we've tried to weave through this. And I've said this before, that if Mark Drakeford was the leader of UK Labour, Mark Drakeford is the first minister in Wales, then I would consider voting Labour. But this is partly why.
Between Transport for Wales and the trade union, where I am responsible for these things. Workers are not on strike because of the way in which the Welsh Government acts on a social partnership basis to bring people around the table together to make sure that conversations take place and solutions are reached. How very different from the entirely absent UK government, who abandon their responsibilities and mean that thousands of people are unable to travel due to the dereliction of duty, which is so apparent in their approach to industrial relations. It is a remarkable triple whammy, isn't it, to have brought the railways to a standstill, to have brought the airports to a standstill, and finally, after about 8 weeks, I think, to have woken up to the fact that the 5 pence that was taken off the price of petrol hadn't been passed on to people in that part of the transport sector as well. It is a remarkable record of failure, and I'm afraid it's people, not just in Wales, but across the United Kingdom, who are paying the cost of that failure today.
Big up Drakeford there. Like, that's what I want. Just like, I mean, it's not like fully firebrand. That's really what I want. But like, he's saying things that I'm not seeing in Westminster, like from leaders anyway.
Yeah, and he's right. They're not striking there at the minute. And
that's telling.
That's not what we're saying. Whereas, our lot are collapsing faster than Boris Johnson's septum.
Which has absolutely nothing to do. Anyway, moving on.
Allegedly. Moving on.
Allegations across the nation. Anyway, his septum's devastated. We should tie this section up, really. But, I mean, have you got any final thoughts on this for the RMT or the general vibes?
Support the strikes. All we have is each other.
Up the workers. All we have is each other at all times. Thank you very much, Alice, for your searing political analysis once again. Just to take us into the next section, I just want to play this quick video and see what you think.
Yeah, I was saying how easy it is to blame me for a gang war. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. Because of all the gang wars I've been blamed of in the past.
Anyway, for people who don't know who that is, and we can't talk about this, by the way, go to Paddy Conroy's YouTube channel. He's the very essence of Newcastle. Also, a disclaimer, I don't want any involvement in what's actually happening, but it's so compelling, right? And like, this involves like months and months of crazy YouTube. Just, I can't even talk about this because I don't want to get kneecapped, but seriously, I had to play it. That's Big Paddy Conroy. Also, that video as well. Like, I was laughing my tail off at it. Like, man, like it lacks context, but I just wanted to drop it in, but I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I need to catch up on it. Actually, I was kind of riveted to the whole thing a while back, but I feel like I'm completely out of the loop watching that clip, so I'll catch up on it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Let's take some comments. See who's in the house. So what we've got here is Andrew Langdon, a fucking human rights lawyer, not saying fuck all over the breaking of human rights. Indeed.
Exactly.
So let's scroll back, see who's in. Shelley Kelly, hello. Joanne, hello. Nick Stoker, hello. Lisa Gregory, hello. Who else we got? Lisa Gregory again. Betty Whitey, back again. How you doing, mate? Robert Grady, thank you for sending me that Mark Drakeford video just now. I managed to get it in at the last, and I've snipped it in, and that was all you. So cheers, pal. Anyway, what he's saying is, if you work, join a union. I'm medically retired, but I'm still supporting the union. Big up yourself, mate. Lisa is saying, it's one thing to be thankful to Starmer for he's pissed off the union, so they're now concentrating on their members. Exactly. Also, Lisa tells us that Maxine Peake, the actress, is speaking out and totally awesome.
Yeah,
really, yeah, definitely. We'll follow each other on Instagram, actually, and we've had the odd chat. Nice woman.
Yeah, she's another one we could add to the list who we couldn't think of before. Yeah, no, Maxine Peake, definitely. Kathy, the Queen, Kathy Burke as well. She never shies away from this stuff.
Kathy Burke, get her on, love her. What
love
about her? Paul Elliott just joined, so may have missed it, but the absolute misuse of woke for what seems to be everything nowadays. Exactly.
Yeah, that's I think that also ties in with the Daily Mail had a headline saying builders gone woke because of some survey done saying that over half of builders say that they talk about their feelings and they're into history and they shun fried breakfasts, and that apparently constitutes woke. Now, when you've got an incredibly physically demanding job, to maybe make some healthier choices, and they talk so much about, but as well, actually, in the building industry, the rates of suicide are really, really high as well. And
exactly,
it makes me even angrier with the Daily Mail that they would even dare try and bring that kind of fucking divisive terminology in with that. But yes, no, you're absolutely right. It's just become weaponized to the point it has no meaning whatsoever now, the word woke. It doesn't.
Exactly. I mean, do you know the Samaritans tweeted that article out and countered it and just admonished the Daily Mail?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Well,
but
they
it's
did
just,
earlier today, and rightly so.
People like the Mail and the Express and Dick Bellends like Lauren Fox who are still using it in any kind of seriousness.
Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Lawrence Green, press steer is always anti-union and anti-strike. Good that the public see through this. Definitely, mate. Yeah. Definitely. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah. We'll squeeze some more people in. What we got? Yvonne Gay, 3 out of 4 presenters on Loose Women Support the Strike. Brilliant.
The revolution is imminent if they've managed to win over Loose Women. Yeah. Welcome to the upcoming anarcho-syndicalist utopia.
Yeah, it is. Guy Roberts, wow. What he's saying is, wow, the shed on the cow. You won't get this, right? But you see, I just dropped that little Paddy Conroy thing in. All I'm going to say is this: warshed. That's all I'm going to say. Honestly, this is real life shit. It's mad. But I'm really skirting the lines because I'm going to be back in the tune soon, and I'm really worried. But this is like me entertainment outside of politics and things.
I have no idea what's going on, and neither does Voltairine Dysnomia Hiss. We're just going to sit here and go, okay.
Voltairine, stay out of it. Seriously, you don't want that smoke. You do not want that smoke. Anyway, lovely that everybody's here. Shall we move on to the next section? Yes. Yeah? Right, I'll do a quick intro then. Right. You and I have always had a real issue with fucking cringe meme culture. I don't even know what to call it because I don't think cringe meme culture encapsulates it, but we'll try and flesh this out. And if people in the comments want to come up with a catch-all term that's better than cringe meme culture, we're open. Please do. We'll start with yours, Alice. What we're going to do is we're going to go through a variety of inspo memes. I've got a few that I haven't shown you, but seriously, I've got a problem as a man with these things, and we just want to kind of try and dissect what these things could mean to certain people. So, Alice, tell us about this.
Oh God, it's just it's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes we have to break before we shine. Yeah, somebody who got diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I kind of find that one a little bit hard to digest. Jesus Christ, no. And it's just these kind of bullshit sort of inspirational quotes. But before we get on to this, I really want to say that, sometimes, do understand that quotes and affirmations can bring us comfort on a personal level.
Definitely.
And I'm absolutely not taking the piss out of you, for that. God, there's so much drudgery in the world that sometimes if you see something that just makes something resonate in your head or gives you a little bit of hope, that's absolutely fine. This isn't what we're getting at. It's the whole toxic positivity, completely, these really vapid, inane quotes with absolutely no substance to them whatsoever, which just, just bring out the worst in terms of
Like this one.
Opportunities don't happen. You create them. Yeah, let's frame that one and put it up in the sweatshop in Pakistan.
Have you been born into poverty? Do you think your chances are exactly the same as somebody who hasn't? Then this meme's for you.
Let's play that on speakers for the kids in the cobalt mines. You know, it's just like it's just ridiculous. No, opportunities don't happen. You create them.
I would like to say on this though, like within a certain normal range where there's opportunity in society, certain people can achieve certain things. Yeah. However, there's a fucking glass ceiling in society. People don't spend money on education and all of that because it's like without wanting something in return. So it's not just about like putting your kids through like certain schools to give them inherent privilege in terms of education. It's about the networks they develop in those schools. So it's a good investment because they'll probably leverage that and make a ton of cash. So for them, opportunities don't happen quite right. They do create them. They create them by being in this like very closed loop that we're not invited to. So, but
absolutely.
I was talking to my partner about this before because we have slightly divergent views, but we have slightly divergent backgrounds. So I like to think we teach each other, you know? And like I listen to what she said, she listened to what I say, and we kind of move towards the middle over time, I think. And these type of things, I think, are a Rorschach test. And for people who don't know what a Rorschach test is, it's like a psychoanalytical test where it's ink blots. And people look at those, and it's somewhat of a tell into people's subconscious in terms of what they see. Because some people will see birds, some people will see a smashed skull and blood. Do you see what I'm saying? It looks different to different mentalities and whatever. Just like this, as you said at the top of the thing, sometimes people see that and it catches them at the right time, and they're like, I do have this opportunity, and then it happens for them, and then they're like, God, that meme was a real portent. And like, I don't want to take that away from people because I've been there too whenever my head's been up my arse. I've seen something like that, and it has given us a little bit of a something. What I would like to show you is though, I'll just scroll back till I find it, right? I see these on Instagram all the time, and there's a story for this one here. The Secret, you know that book, The Secret, where it's like, just think everything into existence. Do you want to be like a famous actor? Just think it. Now, there is some veracity to like positive thinking, but it's a lot of it's down to the context, as we've said, that you're in. What the meme says is, right, your time is coming. It's about to happen for you, right? Do you know how many times I've seen this randomly on Instagram and nothing happened? like nothing happened. Nothing good, nothing bad. It was just the same. So how many times do I have to see that thing for something to happen and me go, oh, it's The Secret? It's The Secret?
Yeah, I think
it's that meme.
I'm sure I've actually read something by that same author. I can't remember her name. But that's kind of a lot about gratitude and stuff. And again, I'm not knocking that. Actually, there's kind of certain practices of gratitude that I incorporate into my own life, and I kind of always have on quite a natural level. And again, it's not necessarily knocking that, but as well, I think sometimes if it's, you know, if you go about that in the wrong way, and you know, tell people that, oh, you know, you just need to be grateful for what you've got, can be incredibly alienating, because sometimes you just have to kind of acknowledge to somebody, you know, help them feel seen, help yourself feel seen, and go, actually, you know what, this is really shit. This is a really shit situation. And I'm not going to keep looking for the positives in it. I just need to say it's shit, and then just kind of deal with it and move on. And I think it doesn't do enough of that. It's one thing to practice gratitude. That's a lovely thing. And it can be quite grounding on a personal level if it works for you. Yeah. But as well, you know, you don't want to invalidate yourself, invalidate other people by always, you know, look on the bright side kind of thing. Things could be worse. No, just say things are shit sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of these things on Instagram, right? They're just a harvesting mechanism for people to sell you some kind of like stockbroker scam thing. You ever seen like these business ones? Like they're attached to like a business. Let's see if I can pull some up amongst this absolute bomb of laughable shit I'm going to show you afterwards.
I get bombarded with these things because I am a woman of a certain age on the internet. So yes, I see this shit all of the time, whether I want to or not. Like almost as much as the werewolf porn thing. Like
right, rewind. Werewolf porn.
It's like honestly, it's so many people. I know, but again, it's all women. Seem to on Facebook being bombarded with erotic literature, which is really kind of noncy werewolf erotic fiction porn thing. They'll always like include a few sentences and a really, really dodgy illustration on it before you can block it from your feed forever.
I've not seen these, by the way, so I don't know if your algorithm based on your other internet history is informing Facebook, but
no, this is what everybody says. It's absolute bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. Unless it's going, again, we've talked about this before, unless it's going back, 6 years ago to the Bigfoot porn that I read out on a podcast.
That's right. The Bigfoot porn reading was a legendary moment.
This isn't just me having a problem. It's basically every woman I know on the internet seems to be getting bombarded with
That's interesting. That's something we need to like research and look into, actually, if that's happening, and it's happening
and it's
reasons
really
other than you're all the devil who looks at Pornhub every night and some weird niche.
Yeah, I mean, at
werewolf Bigfoot shit.
Well, at least the Bigfoot shit was funny. Like this stuff is actually, it's really, really like. Obviously, I've never read a full one. I don't want to, but it's always like they try to kind of lure you in with a quote from it, which is just always really, really gross.
Creepy.
Yeah, really gross. Really,
stuff like that's a bit creepy. Like
really rapey,
like werewolf
really
porn.
It's like no.
Dominance in it. It's like that's what it'll be. Bigfoot and werewolf dominance time. Big hairy monsters.
So I guess in terms of targeted stuff, it's werewolf porn and the cosmic gentrifier crew. Like it's the only way I can describe it. Kind of
interesting.
Yeah.
This is one of yours. This is one of them business things. So, like, these are basically data mining exercise to get people to like sort of go, oh, that's amazing. There's usually a ton of hashtags. And what it says is, rich people think big, poor people think small. What the fuck catch-all thing is that? I know some rich people who are fucking idiots.
Yeah. And, poor people think small. What's that? Is what am I going to feed my kids today? It's like, what we're classing as small here. It's just one of those things. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
Absolute silt, a disgrace to language. Rich people think big, poor people think small. But this is one of the part of this genre, which is that hustle culture thing, where it's like, we'll come back to them ones later. It's they're the best ones. Stick around, you'll like them. Rich people think big, poor people think small, but like it's from the motivation line, or like people set these things up and then they have some kind of online course or whatever it is. Now, I understand that I've promoted club nights and things like that, and podcasts, and have always been helpful in filling out warehouse raves. It's just a thing, as are like memes and the general sort of algorithm. I get what they're doing, but it's what they're like sort of putting people in this small like tunnel. And one of the overarching points of all of this utter bullshit is like, if you think and just work hard, you will always be successful. Successful being like ultra rich, probably famous, like like I am the man. That's what people think like is like a valid way of doing things and available to all people. Like if I think and I grind hard enough, I'm definitely going to play number 9 for Newcastle United. Me, within the next year. I'm 45 years old. I've had a spinal surgery and my knees are fucked. I'm definitely not going to play for the Toon. Simple as that.
No, anything with the word hustle in it, honestly, just makes my eyes roll back so far in my head. It looks like I'm having another seizure. It's can it cope? Yeah.
There's a subgenre as well that I'm going to pull up from one of mine, right? And it's Joker ones.
Oh yes, how could we have forgotten about
these things
Yeah.
What we've got is a picture of the Joker from Batman. Like he's either smoking a very fat spliff or a cigar. I don't know what he's doing. But it says sometimes you have to play the role of a fool to fool the fool who thinks they're fooling you. This is the person, like a stereotype of the. Oh, it's just such a fuckery, innit?
I'm a child of a certain age. I cannot read this not in B.A. Baracus's voice.
Oh, let's do it again. Sometimes you have to play the role of a fool to fool the fool who thinks they're fooling you, fool. I added the extra fool on the end because I just didn't feel it would be doing Mr. Service.
No, it's always these, and there's only like, it tends to be like 3 images that you'll see with these kinds of quotes on. One is the Joker, one, and the 2 tends to be Cillian Murphy or Tom Hardy, with quotes attributed to them that they've never ever said in their entire life.
May I help you? This is the subgenre I'm referring to, which is men in the post 40 who basically like this. Right, I'm gonna fucking go full screen again, and we'll come back to this. Right, this is the problem I've got as a man. Right, speaking as a man, speaking as a fucking bald man as well. They've robbed my ability to wear me granddad's cap because you just look like a fucking twat. I'm a working class man from Gateshead, as you can fucking see. And sometimes I like to go out, right? If my hair's all messed up, I just like to put my fucking cap on. Got a lush tweed jacket, and I've got the full fucking ensemble. And I've been rocking that for fucking years, right? This Peaky Blinder culture shit comes along, and it's just wankers who fucking go to the races, sniff really cheap beak, and think they're fucking razor gangs from Birmingham in the 1800s or whatever the fuck it is. I've never seen it. And they're posting this shit on a come down on fucking Facebook, right? And it's like this shit. Here's the Peaky Blinders. I can't afford to hang out with people who don't inspire me. Fucking good. If anybody I knew was getting on like that or posted a thing like that, I guarantee you this. You won't be fucking hanging out with us anymore. Facts. Here's another one. Character is revealed when pressure is applied, because this guy in the cap on the horse is like a fucking diamond or something, which is exactly what you're like when you're fucking changed out of your mind every Friday and Saturday night wearing your dumb baker cap. Fucking sick of this shit, man. There's another one, right? Hold on, I think I might have dropped it in, and this encapsulates like the whole fucking thing. So what it says is a man reaches a certain age where he doesn't want any drama. He doesn't want to fight anybody. And if forced to, he will not fight fair. He will not quit, and there are no weapons he will not use. It's best to leave him alone with his coffee, bourbon, and cigars. Don't poke the old men. They will hurt you. The fucking fear dripping off that. Can you smell the fear coming off that? Like, it's kind of like, my better days are over. My cardio is a bit fucked, and I haven't had a fight for 20 years, and even that was a bit of a fucking one of these. So, like, but I am on Cheap Chang, and it's 3 a.m. Facebook, come here. And it's that's the energy of the whole fucking thing. And as a man, right, I'm fucking sick of it. What do you think, though?
Yeah, there's like definitely a genre of this. It works slightly differently, which is like often aimed at women as well, and that's normally some like, it'll normally have a picture of Marilyn Monroe or something.
You can't handle me at my worst.
Yeah. But with some variation.
It's the same energy in it, but it's just the one for the females. It's like, I'm a fucking psycho, and I've got this fucking daft cap on. I'm a fucking psycho. Here's some Marilyn Monroe shit.
Oh, don't even get me started on the whole cute but psycho genre for women, which I've got to say it seems to be dying off. I don't know if that's just me being too hopeful, but it's kind of, I think kind of a lot of people kind of seem to call that one out a lot more, just saying, no, you've just got really toxic, fucking abusive behavior. It's not cute but psycho.
Well, actually, you're more toxic than that fucking glow stick. I actually watched a man crack a glow stick at a rave off his pickle and drink it.
What happened to him?
Well, bearing in mind he'd had his head in the base bin for about a minute previously. Oh, what happened? What happened? I was off me, no, mate. I was fucking. I was like, hey, cool job, man. Don't die. Off like dancing and that. don't know if I said that or not, but like I'm not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of them things. So hold on, we'll see. What I want to do is move on to this next thing that you sent us, which I thought was fucking brilliant. Tell about these.
Oh, I made that one.
Did you make that? Basically, I'll describe it. It's a young child putting a dove of peace out in the air with "Come back with a warrant" written on it. Did you honestly make that? That was my favourite out of the whole thing. I was fucking butthole. Right first.
I just like to take the piss out of these things and kind of.
Oh my god, that's love.
I think I've got another one somewhere of like a very kind of elegant looking woman, and it just says "scribble on an employee of the week." Like, now these, I think some of the other ones that we're about to see, and this is one of them. I think this is one of my favorites. There is something called Inspirabot, which is absolutely hilarious. It's basically just like an inspirational quote generator, but it just comes out with like really ridiculous things all the time, which I find these kind of things speak to me more.
Amazing.
Than the real ones. So this one says, "The working class, some of them want to wear you." Like, it's like Inspirabot has been reading Bakunin or something. It's kind of got that really kind of faintly threatening kind of like vibe about it. I love it. The working class.
That like sort of ominous air to these ones. I love them. Yeah, so we've got another one here. It's from Inspirabot, and it's somebody sitting on a bench at the beach. "Rejoice and make the government disgusted."
Yeah. Again. Isn't that something we should all be doing? And I think that's definitely my fucking life goals.
It's the one. This is what we should be doing, though. We should be like trying to steer people away from all this fucking Peaky Blinders, I'm the Joker and I'm full of Chang at 3 a.m. shit, and just start posting wild shit like this.
Yeah, no, it's great. Just make the most absurd ones you can think of and put them up, send them to me. I just love stuff like this. And Inspirabot, I do go on that periodically and just screenshot and put them up. It's one of my favourite pastimes, definitely.
It's pretty magical stuff, I feel. I just want to... Sorry, go ahead.
It's just a fucking kickback from all the there's one that goes, I wasn't able to find it before we came on air, and there's different variations of it which will say, and like honestly, and it just like whenever I see it, it makes my piss boil, and I'll explain why, just for people who might not be aware. But it will say something like, "Manifest your destiny. Manifest your destiny. The battle cry of acoustic eugenicists everywhere."
This is why I love doing this with you in particular, because of fucking it is as well, isn't it?
Like, it really is. It's that whole Gwyneth Paltrow cosmic bollocks. Like, right, manifest destiny. You should not be using those two words in any kind of phrase. Okay, this was a term that was coined in 1845, I think it was. It was basically what the colonizers called the it was like a cultural idea that basically the land that they had gone in and called America belonged to them, that it had been given to them by God, and it was destined for them to expand its dominion across the continent. And that sense of entitlement is what led to the genocide of indigenous people, to the enslavement of African people, and to the absolute like burning shit heap that America is today. Basically, like capitalist hellhole where if you get a fucking sprained wrist, you're going to die in medical debt like for the rest of your life. And I'm not even kind of really exaggerating on that. It's
coming soon to a country near you.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're the country where if you have a baby, they'll send you a list of all the different things they've charged you for, and I think they charge currently about $40 to allow you to hold your own baby skin to skin.
Oh, I saw that, man. It was the one I saw was more, actually. It was like, what was it? Fucking few, I don't know. It was a few thousand. But I mean, obviously they just make it up as they go along anyway, don't they? So
yeah, absolutely. So anything with manifest destiny on just makes me want to put my fist through the wall. Like,
I do not blame you at all.
Yeah. No.
But
Awful.
I mean, meme culture. I just to tie it off, and like I don't like just to bookend it from what you said at the start. We're not trying to go in on this to take this away from people. And if you got into it like halfway, go back to the start of this section and see what was said. We're not trying to take it away from people at all, but we're not in the business of fucking trying to give people false hope either. And there's times, as I've said earlier, where I've seen those memes and I was like fucking raging. So I was like, yeah, you have not got a fucking clue what my day consists of today.
No,
and it's like, for example, right? It's like, just be zen. I'm like, I am literally flowing with cortisol because cortisol is the stress chemical, right? I can't be zen today because last week my friend fucking died. You know what I mean? And I didn't mean to be all dark, but seriously, just after a death, if I go on social media and I see that kind of shit where it's like, choose your own adventure. You can choose not to be completely destroyed by the death of a person you love with all of your heart. You can choose not to be. Well, one day I might be able to, you cunts, but it took a fucking couple of years, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
flowing with cortisol throughout that time. You know this because you were fucking, you're one of the reasons I'm still alive. It's like, it's fucking facts though, isn't it? I mean, I thank you for all the fucking time, but it is actual facts. And also as well with that, it's like on some certain days I might just like, you know, if it's like a quote by somebody I like or something like that, or maybe I'll just get caught and I'll be like, yeah, I feel good, and that enhances me feeling good. I think you have to feel a certain element of good about yourself to actually either be nonplussed or take something from some of these things, note some of these things. Have you got anything you want to add before we move on?
Yeah, just it's okay to feel a bit shit about them as well. I think, you know, the reason I kind of like to call it out is because, you know, not to make people feel shit about enjoying some of them, but it is that whole thing of sometimes people, if they're in a really negative mindset, can be looking at that going, this is all my fault. You know, when they might already be blaming themselves, they might already be blaming themselves for something, going, yeah, this has all happened to me because I wanted it to. And I think you have to be, you know, when you're dealing with trauma, that's something you really need to be careful of. As I say, if you want to follow that kind of path on a personal level, and sometimes I might have found it helpful, it can also be extremely damaging. And it's all about personal choice and not putting these messages out to people who could potentially be really hurt by it, because it's making things that they have no control of, that they brought it on themselves in some way. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I get really fucked off about, like where it kind of implies heavily that it's a choice and you're just choosing to be miserable. It's got the same energy as Paris Hilton's "Stop Being Poor" t-shirt. I mean, she should have been sent to the gallows. Sorry, you can't say these things anymore because people think you fucking mean them. I don't think she should be sent to the gallows or killed, but like you've got to be able to use like common vernacular. So let's send her to the gallows. Not really. Kills jokes, doesn't it? It's shit. Anyway, moving on. That's meme culture. Really, like, we'll see if anybody has commented on the meme culture. Right, what we got? Robert, wealth porn. We're back to blancmange. Scream it out loud. Paul Elliott, absolute incel nonsense. That, by the way. What particularly was incel nonsense?
I would imagine werewolf porn, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I think
he's across like that.
On that.
Yeah,
he'll be on that. That's what we've got on the memes. I hope I haven't offended people who love a meme, but I love a meme, but just certain ones don't like it. Paul's confirmed he's talking about that Joker bullshit, but it really is. I mean, it's that whole school shooter like vibe in it. It's like there's a few of them have dyed their hair, long trench coat, and shot up the cinema. You know.
Yeah, the whole Ben Shapiro in his Matrix outfit thing. Have you ever seen that?
I have not, but anytime you mention Ben Shapiro, I laugh because of that like crack about his wife and that. But I don't know if we can repeat it because he's quite a litigious little shit. So can't do that, sadly. The world's shit now, isn't it? Do you remember when
he did say it, to be fair, but yeah.
He did, but he like, you know, he's got bottomless pits of money. We can't dance with that. But anyways, he is a cock, and that's a personal opinion, and that's allowed. What I want to do to before we end the show is I want to I've got a video which I think will both make you laugh but boil your piss, and here's why. I'll just describe what that is for the audio people. That's like Disney's fake anarchy bus, which has probably got something to do with whatever bullshit they've got going on, which was doing some, I imagine, some kind of promotional thing in Cardiff. And it was an open-top bus with people pretending to be the Sex Pistols playing anarchy in the UK, and it crashed.
And it crashed kind of right in between where it says Pistols and Disney, with the Disney logo next to it as well, which is
fucking
just
mint.
Yeah, you couldn't write that. That was amazing.
So it's class, isn't it? And I mean, obviously as an anarchist as well, how do you feel about that continuing appropriation of this type of shit?
I mean, I don't, the Sex Pistols weren't.
Well, yeah, we know about that. They were never.
Well, no, I don't think a lot of people do know. Me and you know.
The boy band, basically.
It was kind of, Malcolm McLaren's art project. And yes, there was working class lads in it and, and all the rest of it. But even by their own admission, they weren't anarchists. It was just, they got people at the time, they did shake things up quite a lot, and they're certainly culturally significant, aren't they? I would never eradicate them from the the story of punk altogether.
But
you can't.
I know you and your magnanimous preamble, but
yes, but and you know how I feel about the Sex Pistols.
They're not crass, are they?
No, they're not conflict. They're just not conflict, or no, or angelic upstarts, or
no,
yeah,
none of those things.
No, no, that was a beautiful thing to watch. It
was brilliant.
It just it's the absolute absurdity, and you couldn't have written that better. I don't agree with John Lydon on virtually anything these days, but probably we do have the same feelings about that.
Yeah.
Was it a series or a film? I'm not even sure, actually. I think it was. Is it a series that they've made, the Disney?
I have no idea, but I just saw the Disney thing with the Circle A, and it was just are you fucking serious?
I know Danny Boyle's done something as well, but I think there's been a series as well. Yeah, and it just all looks really, really bad.
Other than wanting to make you laugh and horrify you at the same time, which is why I didn't send you the video and warn you about it, because other than that, the reason I put this in was because Elon Musk the other week shared this meme where he was so along the lines of it was John Lydon, and it was isn't it one of John Lydon's Quisling later quotes, post butter advert where he sold out and sold out and sold out again. Elon Musk is tweeting this kind of stuff he's the cool guy because he agrees with John Lydon, and it's do you even know about the Sex Pistols? And it just betrays how much of a fucking briefcase wanker he is trying to appear cool.
Yeah, I mean,
it encapsulates the whole thing. You haven't got a fucking clue.
Yeah, Elon Musk is the kind that will be posting Peaky Blinders memes because his goth girlfriend left him, and
that's what it is. He's just not from England. If he was from England, he'd be literally up at night, boshing the Joker and the Peaky Blinders memes out. Probably going to Ascot fully done up, thinking he's the man and that.
Absolutely, but he's in like his 50s as opposed to the school shooter. He's got that school shooter energy, but he's like a middle-aged man. It's it's weird.
I wish you'd just shut the fuck up, and like we'll just watch like a mission to Mars, because that shit's inspirational to me. I was like, until I found out about who he actually is, I was like all for it, you know. But like, and I'm still all for it, but I just think he's an absolute tosser. But anyway, we're getting into the weeds, and we've went on a long time. So please do comment, rate, and subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And yeah, like, love every single one. Is also one thing I do need to mention. I'm going to be on the road again in a couple of weeks. I think we've got it, so I'll definitely have internet every Tuesday, but I'm not sure. And also, you'll not be here in a couple of weeks, will you? Because you've got previous engagements, so we'll be doing something else. But I look forward to welcoming you as usual the week after, as always. So anyway, lovely to see you as ever. I know it's just now I have a bit crack about this stuff. Also, really nice that like this. I just love this community. It's like a little community that builds up around the live as well as the other communities that the cow has, and I just love it every week. It's fucking hilarious. Some of the things that people like message us back. I think like podcasts have always missed the immediacy of like people getting involved and like you know what I mean? I've just it's been one of my favorite things, other than getting to speak to you every week, which is like interacting with the people who like come and watch and listen. It's great. Absolutely love it, especially since we've come out. You know, I mean, COVID's still going on. 24% uptick in people being hospitalised in England. Just thought I'd get that in at the end. You know what I mean? We'll talk about that next week, though. I think when everything goes to absolute rat shit once again, sadly. Any final thoughts there, Springer?
Just that I've got a crow blocking up one of my neighbour's gutters with a bunch of food and then kind of like looking at me through the window, and I'm not sure what he's doing. This is Ebenezer Good, one of the crows. He's very much maligned and misunderstood. So if I keep like looking off in the corner, it's just like I really don't know. It looks like he's got like a loaf of bread from somewhere and he's trying to stash it in the neighbour's gutter.
Have you been sleepwalking? Because I would have put you down for the loaf of bread for the crows personally.
No, I don't give them bread. I give them nuts and other things which are a little bit better for them. Yeah.
If anybody out there would like to know more about Alice's like control of all of Tyneside's crows, go to a previous episode where she details how she's done that. No, you literally do. I'm not joking. It's amazing. Just to like blow out, Joanne, thanks for a great show. Next time I'll be listening from Blighty. Much love. Really hope you've enjoyed Turkey, mate. And also just thanks for all the support you've given from the start. You've been there every week, apart from the time you went out with your mates, but like we're a big joke anyway. So thank you, Joanne. Like really, and just thanks to everybody. I'm gonna like this has been the longest closing thing ever. So I'm just gonna say goodbye. All the best to every single bloody well one is. Ta-ra now, huns.
Ta-ra!
Like, fight snakes always. Take beak and share memes. Bye.